Hi, this is Dr. Michelle Robin with Small Changes, Big Shifts, Building Rhythm and Resilience. And I believe if you'll change one thing a month, one thing for the next 12 months, you'll change your life forever. Thanks for joining me on the journey. Hey, happy Friday morning. Oh my goodness, there's so much good going on right now, and I'm glad that you're joining me today. And so welcome back to Small Changes, Big Shifts. You know, I believe if you change one thing a month, the next 12 months, you'll change your life forever. And not 12 things in 1 month. It's not that way. It's one thing a month or 12 months. And I just want you to know that I don't even get to 12 things a year. I maybe get 3 or 4, and I'm elated if I get 3 or 4 new habits every year. So today, joining me is my friend, Erin Fulk, who is a marketing entrepreneur, but also just a good friend of mine. And I call her one of my kids, and we get to go for walks. So, hey, Erin, just pretend we're on a walk today.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're
having a walk and talk, and I'm sharing about you today. She has taken on what many have seen as a tough circumstances and turned them into a living her dream. She's running a very successful marketing agency, Lillian James Creative. So, Erin, welcome to the show today.
Thank you. I'm so excited. Finally, I'm so excited. I think you were on my podcast like 2.5 years ago, and I was like, that was one of the first times we met, and I was like stalking you to get you on there, and now we've become really good friends. So I'm so like honored.
Well, you know, this show's really about health and well-being. And, you know, you've been on a wellness journey here. You know, all of us have been on some type of journey, you know, from the minute we're born until the minute we die, we're on a wellness journey. And sometimes it's an A day, and sometimes it's a B day, and sometimes it's an F day. So I want to celebrate you because you've been doing this workout. Talk about what you've been doing with this workout to try to shift your own life during COVID-19.
So I've been doing the 75 hard. So what it consists of is working out 2 times a day. One of them has to be outside, and they have to be minimum 45 minutes, reading 10 pages a day, drinking a gallon of water a day, doing some sort of diet. I decided to do under 1,300 calories a day. And you have to take a progress picture. So every single day for 75 days, if you miss something, you're supposed to start over.
And you're on day 68.
Day 68. So it's actually way harder right now this last week than the rest of it has been, weirdly enough.
Well, I think it's a good thing when you have to work out outside, especially when it was lighter. I think that helps. And, you know, part of my concern and one reason why I've launched this kindness campaign is typically in the summertime, people get a lot of light because the sun gives us energy. And what's happened is we had a lot of darkness, a lot of dark circumstances, whether it's Black Lives Matter or the pandemic or the mental health crisis or the political climate. And so we're kind of going into this darker season from the seasons, fall, winter, already feeling a little dark. So that's one reason why we're doing the kindness campaign. But I think for you with this hard 75, right?
I think it's like the 75 hard, but yeah, either way, I don't know.
Okay, well, I'm so glad you started it 68 days ago and not starting it right now, especially if one working outside. You know, I just got a great 4-mile walk outside. Absolutely gorgeous. So if you get a chance to get outside today, I'd highly recommend it to all of our listeners. What have been some of the lessons you've learned over the last few months doing this?
So I'm really lucky. So I have Melanie Clark. She decided to do it with me. So I talked her into doing it with me. And so I've had kind of a accountability partner and then a lot of friends throughout the way. So I think my number one lesson has been how many people have showed up for me on this, right? I am used to focusing on, I think in past times, I've focused on everyone who doesn't show up for me rather than focusing on who does show up for me. So like you, Alex, who I know was on your show last week, like I've had multiple friends that have been like, hey, I know you're doing this. Let's schedule a walk. And so that's been really good. And then people kept telling me this for years and years, but they said, when you start focusing on your health, then your business starts going better. But it didn't make sense to me because I thought I had to be at my computer working the whole time. And it turns out the couple hours I'm spending working out every day, actually my business is going better. So I think that's probably the biggest lesson too.
Well, you know, health is the greatest wealth. And I'm really glad you said that. I was sharing this morning on my walk. And, you know, I'm all in. If I'm not seeing clients, I'm thinking about this kindness campaign because, and a lot of people don't know why. And part of it why is, you know, I battle my own anxiety, but also too, a few years ago in 2017 through 2020, 2017 through 2018, April 10th, 2017 to mid-March 2018, I had 4 of my patients die by suicide. Of my personal patients. That would be like somebody that we're close, and I'm close to a lot of my clients and patients because I just, I think it's such a privilege to serve people. But part of this kindness campaign, we realized after doing all the research that kindness changes the brain. It changes the oxytocin, dopamine, and serotonin, kind of like exercise. So it's a way of doing exercise. So Erin, and I love what you said about showing up, and I want to be mindful about not breaking any confidentiality. What helped you start to focus on who was showing up versus who wasn't? Any insights there?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that, so to be really transparent, also during this thing, I started going through a divorce, right? And so when you're just battling already pandemic and running a business during a pandemic and having children and teenagers at that, and then you throw a divorce on top of it, starts to feel like everything's going wrong. And so you start to feel very lonely. And so one of the things actually, so again, I did the Hoffman Institute that you talk about so much. Thanks to you. And I did the virtual one, and they said, start trying to focus it something different. And so that was the main thing that I took out of that is like, what if I just don't focus on all these people that I feel like have hurt me? What if I focus on the people that, and I started noticing like, okay, wait, just changing that mind shift. So I think that's why I'm like, so like focused on that right now is because there have been so many people that have shown up that what's weird is it's not the people some of them are the people I would have thought. But there's a lot of people I wouldn't have put in that list if you would have asked me at the beginning of this, who's going to show up for you when you need them the most. Mm-hmm. There's some people that have been like I'll use Alex as an example. Alex and I just met each other a year ago, and I know she's a wonderful person, but I didn't think she'd be in my inbox like she is every day and calling me every day to check in, right? So there's been multiple people like that. So
I'm so glad you brought that up because in this kindness campaign, and what a perfect time. And that's part of trusting the process and of when timing's right. And, with this kindness campaign, and by the way, I have a kindness deck here. I'm not giving you, you've not seen this yet. I've got something yet. I just got them. I'm going to hold it up to the camera here. And so here's a kindness quote. And on the back of it, there's a kindness act. And people could get this free in their inbox just by going to smallchangesbigshifts.com/kindness, and they can participate. It's a free campaign. Okay, we're going to create a ripple. We are creating a ripple from the heartland, east and west and north and south to really help people through these very dark times. So but when you say that, when you say showing up is interesting, Erin, I had that bad accident 5 years ago. And I believe that what happens for people is they don't know what to do because they don't know what their gifts are. And you were warned or prepared that I'm going to ask you at the end of the show, what do you think your medicine is? So I don't want you to give it away now. But I believe we all have medicine. And I know when I had my accident, I was so fortunate to have so many people show up for me. And they were a little bit different than who I thought would show up. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. And I love what you said, to celebrate. So this show, Celebrate, Guide, Connect, Hope. And so take this note right now. Celebrate. Look around right now. Who is showing up for you? Have you seen the movie with Mr. Rogers?
I have not seen it yet.
Okay. One of his famous quotes is, "Look for the helpers."
I've heard that. That's like one of his most famous ones. So I have heard that.
So you're looking for the helpers. You're looking for people who are supporting you. I love that. I don't know about you. How has it changed your mind focusing that way? Do you feel happier? Do you feel less? I don't know. Sometimes I get in my dark side where I'm judging myself. What could I do more to have people show up for me? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So one of the things I forgot to say that this includes, I don't know why I forgot to say this, but you also can't drink any alcohol for the 75 days. And so when we talk about my mindset, I'm not an alcoholic by any means, but I do think that sometimes when stressed, I'm like, I'll just have a glass of wine. I'll just have a margarita. I'm famous for saying, let's just have a margarita. Mm-hmm. So part of that, and then I would just ignore some of the stuff. So I think the biggest thing of this, has been the mindset thing, the figuring out, okay, this is how you have to deal with it when you can't deal with it other ways. You can't go out because not a lot of people want to go out right now, right? Especially early on in this. And then you can't use a substance to get over it. You just have to process through this. So some days that it is really good and I'm good, like today. And other days it's tougher because you have to face stuff you don't want to face. So.
Well, there's several sayings that come to mind. One is, when you're in hell, keep walking.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in hell, keep walking, and I've been in hell. I've been through, 3 or 4 floods at my office. I've been through this accident. I've been through people that I love and care about a lot, and still love and care about a lot, hurt me. And part of it is just the journey. I love, as you know, I live with a therapist, and one of the things is life is like a train. You get on in station A, and you think you're going to station Z, but all of a sudden you realize you're going to get off on station D and take a detour. And it's important to realize everybody's on their own train. And sometimes they're on your train, and then they have to shift as it works for them. So that's one of the things I think about when you say that, Erin. And I'm so proud of you. 68 days, no alcohol, a gallon of water a day. What have the results been? What have you seen?
So physically, I've lost almost 20 pounds, which I will say, if you're ever going to do this, I love Melanie Clark so much, and I appreciate her doing it with me. She's 10 years younger than me, so we have very different metabolisms. So that's also been one of the things. I've been cheering her on while I've been like, sometimes beating myself up, but that's been a good actual journey. The mental piece, I think, first of all, I started it 2 weeks after my husband moved out. And so it gave me something to focus on, where usually, and I still find myself sometimes focusing on what I could have done better over here, and that this has really given me some. I mean, when you're working out 2 times a day and trying to drink a gallon of water, that's a lot of water, and trying to remember that you have to read 10 pages, right? Like, there's not a lot of time to focus on the stuff, the negative stuff, or the what I could have done stuff. So I think the mental piece has been the biggest piece of it. I'm kind of at the point now where I know when I don't have to have a checklist, what I'm going to just be doing automatically. So I think it's also set me up. There's a thing that says, like, it takes 30 days to make a habit. Well, 75 days. When we got to like day 30, we're like, who are the people that do 30-day challenges? That seems so simple now, right? So now I'm like really in this habit of what I think will work well for me, and going forwards will keep me in this mindset.
Well, it's interesting. You said lost, and I'm a big word nerd, and I know you're a big nerd as well. But I think about release. It's how do we not get in the yo-yo of life? And you may or may not know this, but my mother and a couple of my brothers are obese, and I've kind of have to be very intentional about my weight. So otherwise I get in trouble, because my favorite subject is eating. I love to eat, and part of it is I love to eat because I'm stressed. And when I get stressed, I eat, and I don't always choose to make the best choices. It is Friday, and there may be French fries in my future with my friend Jane today at one of my favorite restaurants. I just want to give you that. If you see me out at lunchtime, I'm probably going to have French fries. Not you today, Erin, because you're on doing the hard 75. And so it's really about releasing. It's about releasing the weight, so it's not a yo-yo game. And right. When I changed my mindset on that in my early 40s, probably my early 40s, I started changing that. I've been able to maintain within a 3 to 5 pound, even having a major accident going through menopause. And I have a number, and I'm a nerd, and I weigh 2 or 3 times a week. And all of a sudden I'm like, okay, whatever you ate yesterday, even though I eat pretty clean, my body didn't like tomatoes. My mouth changes when I have tomatoes, but I love tomatoes. So it's just being intentional about what you're having. So I want to encourage you to change. I've released. Now, the way I released the weight, I've released the thoughts, I've released possibly a relationship that wasn't serving me, and I've gained. And so here's the question: what have you gained during this time?
Right. Well, like I said, I feel like my business is in the best place it's ever been. So we just hit 4 years, and you know this, like anybody that's ever started a business, like it's fun the first year and a half, and then it becomes work. Right. And so I had a really rough 2019 when it came to my company. I made bad decisions. I made just bad learning. I was just learning a lot of stuff. And so, I had made a decision going into 2020 if I really wanted to do this or not. And you and I sat down and talked about this, and I decided I was going to do this. And then pandemic hits. So it's like, hey, we're just going to test you on this just in case. And so I think that my biggest piece is that I realized what I'm doing, I do really love. My kids actually came in here last night, and they told me, my son asked me, just hit 14. And so he wants to redo his room now, right? He's kind of getting into that wanting to own his own space stuff. And so they came in here to talk to me about it, like they double teamed me on it about this weekend, being able to do it this weekend. And they said, Mom, you just seem so much happier now. You're more fun. You're hanging out with us more, which I didn't realize how much I wasn't, I think, because I was around, but I was so checked out. And I was always saying I had to work when really now I'm getting just as much done in a shorter amount of time because I'm more focused. So I think I've gained really my relationship with my kids back. They are thriving. I know a lot of people are talking about how kids are having a hard time. My kids are thriving right now. And I think a big part of that is because they see mom working on herself and understand that I'm working to try to be more there for you. So I think probably that's the biggest part is just I've gained remembering why I started my company, which was for them, and not letting, like, although I love what I do and my business is going really well, remembering that I started it as an avenue to take care of them.
You know what? I'm going to think about that. We need to think about a quote for that. I checked back in.
Mm-hmm.
Checked back into my life. And I've thought about this for years because I see parents that give up their health. They'll bring their kids in for care and they don't take time and they don't spend the resources on themselves because it's all about their kids, and they feed them the right food and then they eat junk, or they take them to the doctor or the chiropractor and then they say, you know what, I'll do it some other time for myself. But the greatest gift you can give your kids is for you to live your best life.
Right.
Because they model that. And they learn how to do that. I'm curious, Erin, because I know you, and I'm a huge Hoffman fan. And one of my friends actually emailed me last night. One of my old clients actually who lives in California said, my husband's going to go to the Hoffman process. And what are some of your takeaways from that besides looking at who's showing up for you?
Yeah. So it was a difficult process for me because it was so out of my comfort zone. Because I just stay busy and don't usually stop to focus on stuff, right? And so I just did the 2-day virtual one. So I don't know if I could have made it through 7 days. I think they don't do they even let you take your phones? I don't know if I could have done all that, but the 2 days for me was a challenge. And I told them, like, from the beginning, they called me on the break and they said, are you okay? And I said, this is me trying my hardest, I promise. And what she told me is, she said, sometimes we see that people that it takes them a little bit longer. It actually, the transformation lasts a lot longer in their life. And so she encouraged me that it was okay to take my time on it, and told me that I would start to see things throughout and circle back around. So honestly, and you and I had this conversation, at the end of it, I didn't know what I had taken away from it. I was like, I don't know. I just went through a lot. I'm processing. And usually I'm a quick decision maker. I don't process. I don't think about things. But now what I'm seeing is, like, I even recently, found myself starting to date somebody or talk. I don't know if I'm ready to date. You've told me, I've promised you I won't get too far with somebody. No. You know what I'm talking about, though. But I started to talk to somebody, and I saw myself doing some of the same patterns that have obviously landed me 2 kids by 2 different men and a different ex-husband, like, right? Like, all these patterns that have landed me here with that person. And I was like, I'm just going to step away and not do this because obviously I'm not ready. So I think part of what it did is I think what it's supposed to do is show you your patterns that you keep repeating. And I'm also seeing some of my patterns being passed down to my kids. So being able to get a hold of that before I see them have to go through some of the stuff I've done. So I don't know. I'm still processing all of it, but I can see it's good.
That was the answer I was looking for. Yay! A+. I was looking for that. My everything I do, Erin, you probably know this, is about the future generation. It's how do we help these kids 5 to 30 make generational change so that we can stop the bull shift that's happening out in the world, right? And we're going to do with this 31-day kindness. I was talking with a friend today as I was walking. I was actually recruiting my angels to help me on this campaign, and because we're getting close to hitting the tipping point where we're going to all of a sudden do this with it across the country. I mean, we're so close, and we launched it. Today's the 19th. We launch in 5 days. Yeah. So we've got work to do. If you've not signed up for the kindness campaign, you're not going to want to miss it, because you talked about mindset and the kindness campaign. And Desiree, I know you're listening right now, so I'm thinking about what we do right after that. Not the hard 75, but maybe the hard, easy something. But how do we shift that? And so this kindness campaign will help you shift your mindset. It's just the simple things that will lead to that. So Erin, I'm so glad you said that, because the reason I love the Hoffman process so much, because the Hoffman process so much, is because it helps people fall in love with themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Once you love yourself, you do things different. You do start looking about who's showing up for you. You also start showing up for yourself. And that's the problem. You said you were checked out, now you're checked back in. And the question is we got to keep you checked in for your kids.
Right.
By the way, do they get to redo their rooms this weekend?
Yes. So Lily just wants curtains, so that one I can do easily. But Devin, he's going all in on his YouTube channel, so we're gonna have a little YouTube spot in it. We're painting and we're doing all the things this weekend. But your 14-year-old son doesn't want to hang out with you that often, so I'm going to take advantage of it.
Well, I'd encourage you. Do you know my friend Robin Stevens?
Yes.
I would, it'd be really fun if you were able to have her do a little virtual to figure out energetically, because like in my cool office at home right now, she came in before, when we had to set this office up, she came over with my guy, Zach, and they said, okay, we're going to do it here. We're going to change the wall coloring. We're going to do these lights. You're going to have this plant. You're going to have this crystal here. And so, anyhow, I would reach out to her. That'd be really fun, because she is amazing. She is absolutely amazing.
She was one of the first people I met when I started my business.
Yeah. So let's talk about your business. Tell me, and people say to me that I love marketing. I really love, and you love too, is I love connection. Mm-hmm. I love to collect people, and I love to help people get to where they're trying to go on this journey, which is, I think, what you guys do at Lily and James. And total transparency, you've helped me with my one pager for my speaking business. You look over a lot of stuff that I send to you and say, okay, what am I missing here? Even though I have a phenomenal design team too, but you are my other eyes that'll say, by the way, this looks like shit. Excuse my language. I did say that. I try to say shift most of the time, but you'll say, by the way, this looks bad. So talk about Lily and James Creative.
Yeah. So Lily and James, we are a content deliverable company. So we're in e-commerce for marketing, kind of a different thought process. We believe that a lot of business owners like you, either people have one person helping with their marketing, or at this point, we all know social fairly well, right? So we just give you, most people don't have a videographer, a graphic designer, a blogger on staff. So this just allows small business to play the same size marketing level game as big business. So it's an e-commerce where you can just get in and order whatever you need. Again, we are so passionate about the connection, which is really how we've grown the business, how the whole team's grown the business. So we've really leaned on that. We've really gone all in on small business, because I just think that, I started in small business. We grew, like, I think once overhead, you have to start charging more and more and more once you get more overhead and bigger staff. And I did the whole thing where we got to really big business, and I just wasn't as happy. I wanted to help small businesses. So we figured out a way that we could not have to charge the big prices and still pay our bills. And it was this e-commerce model that we came up with. And so Ezzy Redwood was a great friend of mine and very driven. So he came over to be our vice president last year. I've had the same team. Almost everyone on our team has worked for us almost 3 years. I think there's someone that's been there for about almost 2 years. But besides that, we're close to everybody's almost been there for 3 years. And the business has only been around for 4 years. So it's been really, it's been awesome. We haven't had to lay anybody off during COVID, which has been amazing.
I'm thinking about Barnett Hellsberg. I'm in the Hellsberg mentoring program. And what a class act. But he says, bigger is not better. Better is better. Mm-hmm. Bigger is not better. Better is better. And, I think about my own journey, and it's been fascinating growing your wellness connection. And then, I want to tell you transparently, I'm doing some soul searching right now. I'm looking at what is mine to do for 2021. I'll be in my current space 20 years. And I'm just thinking about what keeps me stressed, what keeps me from being able to check into my life. And so I'm doing my own homework here. Probably need to do a little Hoffman tune-up, I'm hearing myself here. And, we've talked about doing a partnership with our wellness consortium, because we have a lot of wellness providers. And through this whole movement is, how do we help people connect to providers that are close to them, so that it can be convenient to get well. So Erin, I want to start to shift the show a little bit and start to wrap up. I want to tell you, I'm really proud of you. 68 days. I'm not sure I've ever done anything 60 days straight, just so you know.
It's hard. Some days I'm like, my little girl, Lily, she has been probably my biggest cheerleader during it, because she is she's really into the app of it. So she'll be like, this is what we have left to do today. And so last night she was like, read me your 10 pages. So I read her my book, and she didn't know what any of it was about, right? But she just sat there and she was like, page 1, page 2. So I've been very lucky because my kids have been very supportive as well.
Well, and you don't know what you're teaching her. You're teaching her resilience,
Mm-hmm.
and you're teaching her rhythm, and you're teaching her how to cheer people on. You know what? I've got a homework assignment for you. Okay. Now we're on our walk and no one else is listening.
Okay.
The homework assignment is I want your kids to write a letter to you of what they've learned while you were doing this hard 75. Okay. And then I want you to write a letter back to your kids about what you've learned about parenting, about showing up for you. Can you do that?
Yeah, we can.
I think it's a great story. I think it's a great story.
Can we type it out?
Yeah. Yes, they can, because I have horrible penmanship. So yes, they can. Erin, I also want to say thank you for being so good to me. I've met some phenomenal people. You know, I've got in your honor, I got my Be Good to People jacket on. By the way, you can find this at begoodtopeople.com. My friend Chris Wittenberg, who does a fabulous job celebrating people and talk about the queen of kindness, things like that. But thanks for being so good to me. You know, I met Joel Goldberg because of you. I met Scott Havens because of you. Or I'm trying to think of the other big names. But anyhow, you continue to introduce me. Actually, you know what? I think I dropped the ball on somebody right now. I'm thinking there's somebody in my inbox. Oh, I think I'd actually deleted that email. Ooh, the last person you might have connected me to, I think I just had my focus on this kindness campaign. So I may have dropped the ball there. So thank you.
Yes. The last person you actually connected with the Wellness Consortium. So you're good.
Oh, I'm good. Okay. Did my job.
Yeah.
You want to really follow up on that. So I've got a few more questions for you as we start to wrap up. Thanks for starting this Friday morning with me.
I'm halfway through my day. I already went and worked out at 5:30, and then I went to breakfast with Randy Powell. So I'm halfway through my day.
Don't you love that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I had my 4-mile walk, and I've talked to 5 or 6 friends who are going to champion me from all over champion this kindness campaign from all over the country. I said, look, I just need you to share with 10 people. I said, if you have a company, I want to give a shout out to my friend, Marianne Camacho with Quest. She got her company to do it. And they got 45,000 people that are hearing about this kindness campaign. And if we're trying to get to 1 million, I don't know about you, if you do the math, that's about 20. You just need 25 companies that have 45,000 people, or you need. Go ahead.
I have it in the queue for Monday because from my marketing point of view, like to do it right before it starts, just because of how I know people work. And so I've got it in my LinkedIn queue for Monday. So hopefully with my network, that'll get you closer to that too.
Yeah, we all win when we all celebrate each other and we all look to how do we serve each other. So Erin, when you think about helping somebody, okay, this is not one of my final questions, just so you know. I'm just rolling off top of it. And as you know, we sent you questions, but I don't think I've asked you any of them yet.
I don't read them ever anyways, because I don't think it comes off authentic if you think about them.
Yeah, but some people want to be prepared.
I know. So. People always ask me to send them questions, and I'm like, let me come up with something. Can't promise I'll ask them.
So when you think about shifting forward, how can people help you? Because you are such a helper for other people. How can people show up for you?
Yeah, I am very lucky that a lot of people have been showing up. So I think for me right now, I think probably the biggest, hi, Alex. I think probably my biggest thing is I don't know how I forgot about this, but I was a single mom for 12 years. I was only married for 18 months. So I'm back to this single moms thing. And I think a lot of times we talk about how strong single moms are. We say a lot of stuff about it, but what you don't think about is a lot of times that the single mom is the last person you invite to do something. 1, you just assume they're busy because they have kids. 2, you're usually doing couples things, right? And so out of, I think, people's own preservation for someone, they say, well, I don't want to invite because they'll feel uncomfortable. And I would say maybe not necessarily for me, but there are a lot of single moms out there that are struggling really hard right now. They may be struggling financially, but they're probably definitely struggling. It's very lonely right now if you're a mom and you're not going to work and you're sitting at home doing virtual school with your kids and working from home and not really having any other adult interaction, I think just encouraging people to reach out to their single mom friends would probably be my biggest ask right here. I've got a ton of people reaching out to me, but I didn't before I had my company. I've made really good friends now, but I didn't have that in the past. But there also wasn't a pandemic, so I could get out. So I would just say, if you know a single mom, maybe encourage, I don't know if you've met Jaron Thornhill, but the other day he called me and he's got 3 or 4 companies. He's just an amazing guy. And he said, hey, is this one of the nights you drive out? I drive out to 159th and Metcalf 4 times a week with the kids for theater. He said, is this one of the nights that Devin goes to theater? And I said, yeah. He goes, I'm going to take him for you. And I said, why? He goes, I just want you to not have to do it tonight. Let me take him. I'll work out there at that Starbucks while he's there and I'll bring him home. And like, that was just huge because that was just like one less thing I had to do that week. Right. And so just, I want to encourage people if they know single moms to maybe just reach out.
I'd call that an act of goodness, and maybe it's in one of our tips coming up here for the next month.
Okay.
Woo!
Right there together.
we are on fire today. Hey, Alex, we love you too, buddy. Alex is one of my bonus kids. You know that she was on the show with me on Monday, helping with our Big Shifts Foundation. So, Erin, we're going to come to the time to ask you a couple of my favorite questions. If you had a magic wand, what would you do?
If I had a magic wand, what would I do? I think if I had a magic wand, I'd make the coronavirus go away right now.
Would you?
Oh, yes, because I think mental health right now is really, really hard. I think the lack of being able to connect with people is really, really hard on people. I have one of my favorite people in the world right now has it and is not doing well. And so, yes.
All right. I'll let you have that. So, by the way, I'm going to pick a card.
Okay.
Give me a number. What?
4.
1 to 31. Did you
4.
say 4?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going here. I'm in the deck. Number 4. And you've done this. Actually, you did this for me recently.
Okay.
All right. I don't have glasses on. Ready? Okay. Give flowers in person or virtually. And you sent me flowers recently. Fresh flowers are I can't read it. I'm not even going to try. Fresh flowers are so many things, and there's some great things on this, but that's one of the acts of goodness. Is that crazy?
I send flowers almost weekly to somebody. You know what I did the other day, though? I have a wonderful VA, and I sent her flowers because it was her birthday, and I didn't sign my name.
Your virtual assistant, for people that don't know, it's not the VA, the Veterans Administration, but it's virtual assistant.
Virtual assistant. And I didn't sign my name. And she told me, she's like, I got flowers for my birthday. And I was like, sorry, that was me. Because her sister had sent her flowers too. It's kind of funny. But yeah, sending flowers is one of my favorite things in the world. And I always send them from the little flower shop because they are just, I love supporting small business. And they can always, I'm a person that thinks about it that day. So they always send them that day.
Yeah, so you're that. I'm like, okay, I need to do this. Okay, how can I get it done? Like right now, I asked my team. They're like, okay, could you give us more warning? I'm like, it doesn't come through that way with me. It's just like, oh, I need to do it right now.
Their online system is fast, and they do it that day. It's a win for me.
One thing, as we are doing this campaign, I've realized what my medicine is through the journey, and it sounds like you might be realizing what your medicine is. What do you think is the medicine that God put in your heart to share with the world?
Yeah, I think probably really connecting people, whether that be through social media or through email introductions. But I think that probably what I do very best is connect people. I'm good at LinkedIn, but that's because that's connecting people. Like I used to say, I'm so good at social media and psychology. And I'm like, no, really, it's just the people part of it. Yeah,
me too. I love the connection. To me, it's just like, it's better than any type of drug I could ever take.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Okay, so I have a couple quotes today. Do you have a quote you want to share? I'm going to share one, and then I'm going to share the one that came to me during the show that I want to share. This is the one on the card you picked, number 4, because people are going to get a quote a day, and they're going to get an act of goodness a day. Plus, we're telling stories. We got stories every day of stuff. I have to tell you, I watched this one story. It's so good. You're crying at the end of it, and you realize how the ripple effect happens. So here's the quote that you picked on your card. Where flowers bloom, so does hope. Lucky Bird Johnson.
I like it.
That's crazy, isn't it? What quote do you want to share with our listeners today?
So I put this quote on, I put it on these Post-it notes, and I put them on mine and my kids, like by our desks. But essentially it says you can do hard things. And we've been just kind of living on that. And then today on my social, I put that every good either love story or success story always has some sort of stuff in the middle. And so I'm kind of living by that right now.
There's always stuff. I can tell you 29 years in practice, there's always stuff, without a doubt. You know, Erin, I also want to give you a shout out. I'm using StreamYard because of you. Just
I'm glad you're using it.
Fancy thing, all these little things. I want you all to know that you have people around your life that are flowers. They continue to give you gifts every day. Sometimes they're a little drooping, sometimes they're more bloom, you know, in full force. And part of that is the way we nurture those relationships. And you're a master at nurturing. I'm going to encourage y'all to follow Erin at linkedin.com, Erin Fulk. And she's just doing some great stuff. And Alex, we love you. We are master connectors, or we're collectors. I love collecting people, not just for this short period of time, but for the rest of my life, realizing that everybody has their faults. And there's days that we are having great relationships. There's days that they're hard. But you know what? When you walk through the hard times, it makes the relationship more thrive throughout life. You know, Erin, you may not know this about me. I moved every 2 years growing up.
So did I.
Yeah. And so it's to have a friend that's, you know, I just actually saw my oldest friend at her brother's wedding a few weeks ago. Michelle, her name's Michelle Martin now. It was Michelle Hampton, but we were friends as kids, and it was so, you know, there's just something about those long-term relationships that you just can't make up, and you can't do it like that. But they just take showing up for people day after day, and celebrating them. So we're celebrating you today. So here's a quote I want to share with you all today. And Erin, you're embodying this right now, and hopefully you're really seeing what it's like. And thank you all for tuning in. And hey, if you've not signed up for the Kindness Campaign, please do. And if you would consider inviting 5 of your friends to join you on that campaign, let's create a ripple that helps people get back into their heart, so we can change what's going on in this world. And so here's my quote for you today. First of all, I love you. I'm sending you a big old heart hug.
I love you too.
So here's my quote. When you heal the heart, you will heal the body. Dr. Michelle Robin. That's my quote. When you heal the heart, because I know I could adjust you. I could tell you to drink water. But once you start falling in love with the way God created you to be, you'll do the stuff you need to do to live the life of your dreams, so that your kids will have the life they deserve. All right. I'm sending you all big hugs. Erin, I'll chat with you soon. Thanks for the great conversation. All right, you guys, get signed up. All right. Chat soon. By the way, hey, join me this afternoon. I'm coming back on with my team who has been working their tail off on this kindness campaign. I wanted to love them up. And I wanted to share with you all how it's shifting us by focusing on something different. We're not listening to the news. Well, we're listening a tiny bit, but we're really listening to all the science on kindness. All right. Chat soon. I sure appreciate you listening to Small Changes, Big Shifts. If you go to the website, smallchangesbigshifts.com, we'll have the show notes ready for you there. If this episode inspired you to make a small change that will lead to a big shift, please share with a friend. You can catch our episode on Apple, Google, Spotify, YouTube, and our website. And if you feel like it, please leave a rating or a comment. Be sure to subscribe so you can catch our episode next week. Blessings to you.